Welcome to Monday Night Live. Tonight we're going to talk about Ketchikan, Alaska, and shore excursions there. My guest is running just a little bit late, hopefully. He was actually supporting a National Geographic show that they film up in the area around Ketchikan. So he had to tie his boat up and get back to his house. I'm hoping he's going to show up here pretty quickly. But I do have a couple of things that we'll take a look at. Let me, let's do this. I want to bring this up full screen. In this video, you'll be able to hear it. It's just a little bit of an overview of what's in Ketchikan. So enjoy.
It is a close-knit community. You know, I don't know whether we've all run from something or we've all run to something, but we're all here.
Traditional is right up out of the roots of this country. If you want to look at cultural art as an influence in society, you're going to see it everywhere.
I get a lot of people saying this is the best times they've had in their lives.
Southeast Alaska, God's country. Ketchikan's the heart of it all.
If you're looking out the window, you're not going to want your money back.
It's unlike anything else in the world. And they get to see stuff here they wouldn't see anywhere.
If you're proud of your background, you reflect yourself well with people. You become an ambassador. So that's our hope, that they enjoy their stay and they learn something about us.
And we saw a little bit of some of the things that the artists see and do in Ketchikan there. I've got one other short video I'm going to play, and then I will double check and see how we're coming on my guest. Like I said, he was tied up. He'd been helping make a National Geographic show that they film up there, and he got back in on his boat a little bit later than he expected. So we're working on getting him here, hopefully. But anyway, here we go to another video. This is on art in Ketchikan.
To be honest, I'm more comfortable with a carving knife than a pencil. You know, it's a subtractive method to make your artwork.
She's driven to create. She takes the medium of printmaking and twists it in ways that I've never seen before.
Ketchikan's really supportive of their young artists and emerging artists. That's how we all began.
I think as soon as I started establishing an identity, I was identifying kind of as an art maker or an artist.
I really feel that's part of our job, is to give back. I have a program that I take to the schools. As an illustrator, I bring in books, I bring in visual arts, I bring in carving knives, and they have to fold and do fractions. Then the teachers that aren't sold on, replacing their curriculum with art, all of a sudden they can see how it fits in.
As I was growing up, I was always really nurtured by my parents and by the grown-ups around me as being an artist. And before I was, writing words, I was drawing, and it was always, oh, Molly's a little artist, and it definitely was a part of my identity growing up.
He's the one artist in Ketchikan that can do anything in any medium.
He can sculpt in both ways, putting stuff on and taking stuff off. So he can carve and build.
Beadwork.
Painter.
He can make amazing bread.
I imagine he knows how to draw.
Piling caps out of fiberglass. Terry can do anything.
You know, all the artists in town, in one way or another, I think inspire me, and I think we all inspire each other because we're all, you know, in this together. I think whatever you soak up is kind of what goes into your art. Kind of off the sleeve, onto the brush, you know, onto the canvas. A picture called Alaska Kitchen Scene from a picture or painting I saw in Europe. I immediately thought of Dave Rubin.
Fish and birds on this table. So Terry was going to change out all these for Alaskan game. And then holding the bowl, he needed a model, so he asked me. So I'm the butcher holding the bowl of blood with a big smile on my face.
I looked in some of the visitor guides and I saw a woman, Mary Ida, who said her sentence in her little bio was, we love new artists. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to call her. So I called her and she picked me up and took me to her studio and drove me around. This is before I even moved here and saw the sculptures they were working on. And they took me all over and just showed me, they were just incredibly supportive and kind.
The more artists you have, the more artists you're going to have. Art begets art.
Okay, so let me see if I can check on our status and see if we're going to get our guest in tonight or not. Anyway, what I will do right now is I'd be glad to start taking some questions. I'm not the expert in Ketchikan that Timothy is, but it is an area that we visited last year on a cruise, and we've been there actually twice now on a cruise, and had a chance to tour around a little bit. So if there's anybody out there that has some questions, go ahead, and I would take questions now. Give me a chance. I'm still waiting on an answer from Tim to see what his schedule looks like. Hopefully he's getting close to being able to join us. I said he wound up in a situation where he was late back with his boat, and he's obviously got to get the boat tied up and then back to his office. So as soon as I know something, I will share that with you. We'll talk a little bit about, we did a tour, actually. Let me just find the tour we did. We'll go to, pull up my NCL because I can probably show you that from this. Yeah, let's do this. And so pull up this, we're on an Alaska cruise. We're going back again this year. For those of you that have never been to Alaska, Alaska is absolutely amazing. It's far and away our favorite destination. And as soon as it's done with, we'll actually look at a few of what's to do in Ketchikan things here. So in Ketchikan, probably the number one attraction in Ketchikan, and this is not one, let me pop me up in here too. Let's do this. This is not one that we have done, but Misty Fjords is probably the number one attraction in Ketchikan. It is a national monument, and it is a long boat ride over. Most people fly into Misty Fjords and land somewhere, and they have some islands you can get off on for a little while, and they said that the silence and the beauty is just absolutely phenomenal. Like I said, it's a fairly long boat ride. Our port stop this time is fairly short in Ketchikan, so we couldn't do the boat ride over. One of the things that will be on our agenda this time is this Saxman native village. I'm not so much interested in the lumberjack show, though I have talked to people that said it's a lot of fun. But they have an actual native village with totems that are, are not for show, but they're real totems that tell stories about the tribe. And you have the opportunity to get to see some of the culture of the Native Americans in that area. That looks like it would be pretty interesting. Let's see if we did. Looking for the one we did. This is the one we did last year, and this one was a lot of fun. This Alaska Lodge Adventure and Sea Fest, and it was pretty interesting because one of the things that they did is that they provided. We had a tour of the bay, and we were early in the season, so we didn't see any whales in feeding when we went on the cruise. But it was a real nice tour around. We got to see eagles. The eagles were coming down and feeding right there by the boat. So if I had been quicker with my camera and having it ready, I would have been able to get some really nice eagle pictures. And then we went out to a, let's see if it shows a picture of it here, more details. We went out to a fishing lodge. Nope, they don't have a picture of it. So let me see if I can find one. I'll bring it up and pull it over there. But we went out to this fishing lodge, and they had there's a boardwalk that goes back into the rainforest there, and it was just absolutely amazing. We took a walk back in there. Actually, let me see if I can pull it up. And so actually, I'll just play this video for you. And so here we're actually walking into this rainforest. It's kind of interesting. It's a boardwalk. So my wife's riding in her wheelchair. She's actually running the camera as we walk in, and the guide's talking. The reason it's a boardwalk in is because underneath our feet is basically swamp. All of this is swamp back in there, and it was an amazing thing to get to see and do. The guide was telling us that we need to make sure we stay on the boardwalk, because if we get off, we could wind up in the swamp, and it'd be a mess. And there was a railing, so we were quite, even with the wheelchair, we felt quite secure in the trip out. And then after we did this nice walk into the rainforest and went back, they had a old-fashioned seafood boil with crabs and mussels and shrimp and corn on the cob and small potatoes, and it was we really enjoyed pretty much everything about this. And now you can see we're moving up the boardwalk. It was interesting too, because like I said, my wife travels in a wheelchair, and the ramp to get from the boat up to the dock, because it was evidently kind of low tide, was pretty steep. And then when we went back to the to get back on the bus, it was very steep, and they did a really good job of making sure that my wife could get. They pushed the wheelchair up, and they used she rode in a cart, if I remember right, here to get up the hill. They had a cart that they brought her up on. It's like a golf cart.
Wind is the big issue to face here, at least for the trees. The average wind speeds in fall and winter are usually about 60 to 70 miles an hour, and certainly 90 to 100 isn't out of the question in a nice, good windstorm. So, between that and the fact that the topsoil here is very shallow, you might have noticed on the shoreline that top black topsoil layer was pretty thin. Trees not much to hold on to, and down they go. However, I compare the trees here to very accident-prone phoenixes. They're quick to fall, but they're very quick to just get right back up. So you'll see that this tree here, it fell a while ago. However, the root system was still intact. So 2 new trees grew from it. And in fact, you'll notice this tree fell on this tree quite a while ago, but it tied itself into a knot around it. And since then, the old one has rotted out, and this one remains. So things are pretty resilient here. And you might have noticed the moss around here. It's kind of hard to pick up on, but you can see it if you look closely. There's a little over 60 types of moss in this area. The Tongass National Forest, which I should mention is about 15.5 million acres, has about 600 types of moss. The two main types you're going to see are first this 1970 shag carpet looking stuff that's covering the floor. That is called muskeg. And it makes the place look nice, but it can offer a little bit of a hazard.
Okay, so that was just a quick overview of what, pop that back, of what the situation can be like there. And I'm not getting any response back. Hopefully he's close to being able to join us. So the one thing I would say that everybody's got to see in Ketchikan is Creek Street. It's kind of the old historic district of Ketchikan. And so there's a boardwalk, and they said in the fall, when the salmon are running, the creek literally turns red from there's so many salmon that run up this creek to spawn. Now in May, there weren't any fish in the creek at all. One of the things that is real popular in Ketchikan, excuse me, and it's because there are so many salmon, there's a lot of bear around. Ketchikan may be one of the better places to go bear watching in Alaska. I see video from, in fact, Timothy White, our guest tonight, if he makes it, he on his website he always has videos of bears, and typically there are a lot of them in the spring or in places they shouldn't be. He had a picture of one that was hanging out on somebody's upstairs deck. It was just kind of laying up there, and he finds them crawling around and playing with trash cans, and so he seems to be pretty good at finding a bear. I'm looking forward to. We're going to go up this year. We're going to go up in August going up in September. So the salmon should be running, and the bear should be a little easier to find because they'll be congregated anywhere there's running water that the salmon spawn in. The bears will be there feeding. So, and just one piece of information, so that everybody knows, and you can put it way up on your list, is there is an Edmund Street. It's named after me, I'm sure. So it's right there, very short street, and I have pictures of me standing by the post, but they have an Edmund Street. Anyway, back to the Creek Street. Along there's a lot of really small shops. If you're interested in getting away from the cruise ship shopping, I would suggest that while you're in Ketchikan, if you want to shop, you go up to Creek Street. There are a lot of local artists. There is a lot of art galleries and art shops in Ketchikan, and that's one of the things they're known for. It's a great place to go salmon fishing. I was hoping to get some more information about that. I think we're not going to wind up with Tim tonight. I haven't gotten a response back, so at this stage, I could talk all night, but that wouldn't do any of us any good. I appreciate those of you that watched this evening, and I'll see if I can get Timothy rescheduled for another point in time. And I do have a guest scheduled for next week. I'm hoping he'll be here because we've been 2 in a row now that have canceled on me at the last minute. Like I said, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.